Hi, I'm Bernie Mitchell. Welcome to this episode of The World is My Location. We're going to talk to Art Aldrich and his production team from Otek TV, who are covering a corporate golfing event. In this series, that's what we try to do. We try to talk to DPs about how they do their work. Hope you enjoy it.
My name is Art Aldrich, and I run Otek TV, which is a full-service production company based in New York. And I'm in San Diego this week. I'm shooting a 2-day corporate golf outing. We're producing basically a mini feature documentary for each participant, which means 32 golfers per day. And we make a little feature documentary, which we call My Day With. And it's these corporate people playing with a pro, PGA Pro or an LPGA Pro. And it's a feature documentary that tells the story of their day with the pro. We shoot the golf, we shoot B-roll of the course, we shoot B-roll of the reception and the pre-golf curriculum that they might have. Today, the crew is about 12 guys and girls on the crew. That ranges from camera techs. I've got 2 DIT, offload technicians. I've got 2 sound operators. I've got 4 camera operators. I've got PAs. I've got producers, and I've got makeup artists. It's a full service shoot, and we've got all kinds of departments running. Things like communications get tricky. We have RF walkie-talkies, and the range is pretty good, but on a golf course where you have terrain differences, elevation differences, it sometimes is tricky to get a clear communication channel back to what we call base camp, where the camera tech and the EIC are, and the battery chargers and the offload people are. So there's lots of logistics. Typically, I will have a glide cam operator who will walk with the foursome and the pro up the fairways. I will have a long lens camera on the green of that hole covering, close-ups and swings and just a lockdown type of shot. And then I'll have cameras, might be GoPros or GH5s that might be positioned for high-speed swing cameras or side angles. I've got, PX270s, I've got Varicams. Plus we have an interview setup, which is at the end of golf. We interview all the participants, and that setup is more of a film style where we use a grip truck, and we've got a gaffer, and we've got HMI lights, and we've got silks and C-stands and flags and nets, and that we kind of take over a whole tee box and we shoot interviews all day. So part of the storytelling is setting up where we are and how. Usually these are beautiful locations, and so we tell the story visually of that experience, not maybe just about the golf, but even sometimes we're at a resort like we are in San Diego, so we'll shoot some of the hotel surroundings, we'll shoot some of the grand ballrooms or some of the places where they might be having other activities, and we'll put that together as a scene setter in the edit. So we'll fly a drone to get high overhead. GH5s for time-lapse. We do a lot of time-lapse photography, again, as scene setters. So one of the critical aspects for me in shooting these things is getting these walks up the fairway. And I've got a very good operator in Leta, and he knows golf and he understands golf, and that's a critical aspect for what I do.
Typically, how much data do you end up with?
The data is a good question, because we will generate anywhere between 750 gigs to as much as 2 terabytes on a single day event. And I've talked about it, I have a podcast, and I've talked about it on my podcast about the preparation for media, but I have basically redundant systems. I run what we call a RAID 1 mirror on the camera raw, and then I have a second media wrangler who's building Final Cut edit libraries on the fly, and I have a RAID 1 mirror of what he's doing. So at the end of the job, we split up the mirrors. The one mirror goes with me for each part, and the second mirror goes with another producer or the DIT on a separate flight, on a separate data path. When I get to come to beautiful locations and spend a couple days, it's it's good.
This particular rig is the Glide Cam. It's the Devin Graham edition, and you can see I'm fully rigged in a vest with a spring-loaded arm, and I'm able to walk either backwards, which is one of my specialties, or forwards, or sideways, or do full arcing moves with this. I tend to be at like an F6 or an F8, so I have a little more depth of field, and again, being wide, critical focus isn't as critical. Riding exposure can be tricky because the whole point of this is to minimize your contact with the camera. So when you have intermittent sun, it can be a challenge because you're trying to walk backwards, sideways, forwards, keep everybody framed, and trying to minimize your contact, and you're trying to, you know, keep eye on focus. So you're using your zebras, you're using your waveform monitor. Basically, it's floating in air like this. So all the pressure is on my shoulders and my lower back, and thus I go through Advil or Aleve quite often. I mean, golf courses can be beautiful places, and they're kind of my happy place.
The purpose of what we're trying to do here and the magic of what we're doing is trying to coordinate and organize all the footage in one day, the day of the event, and have it prepared and ready to edit at the end of the day. So my role is to prepare all the media ahead of time and have a plan for the run of day, which is usually 8 or 9 golf foursomes. And we prepare all the footage, prepare the cameras with the metadata that goes in. So when they shoot their particular angle, sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 4 cameras on a golf setup. We're organizing footage, we're backing it up, and we are preparing an edit. And metadata allows us to do that. We can organize the footage, we know which foursome we're in when we get the footage back, and it's all about making sure that all these different pieces of media are organized, because basically you've got one card for each camera, and you've got to track everything, because if one camera's gone, you're not able to, you know, have a complete foursome. And so the magic of metadata allows you to know which camera shot which foursome, and if something's missing, you can track it down. What's really nice is it's a really well-oiled machine. It's a lot of people that have done this job for a number of years, so there's a camaraderie, there's an understanding, and there's a respect. And I think that's an important thing when you're working in a big crew, is that everyone understands their job, they respect what the other does, and that's what we have here. And it's important to making sure that the event goes off as well as planned.
Quite a production. It's a big production. Art and his crew do great work. It was a real pleasure speaking with them, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Consider subscribing to the channel, and in the meantime, keep your mind and eyes open. We'll see you next time.